Let's talk Olympics. Okay, so it's the moment to talk about the Olympics and how the Olympics are going to impact the city of Paris, because the Olympics are approaching and everything is starting to become real. So for whoever is going to be in Paris during the Olympics, either to watch a competition, either to just visit Paris, this video may be helpful for you. But first, if it's the very first time you're on the channel, I'm Vittoria and I'm an Italian girl who moved to Paris 2 years ago without having a single idea of how to make it happen, without knowing anybody in Paris and without having absolutely no idea about how things worked, and that shares with you all the info and insights that I discovered along the way, just to be helpful and to help anybody who finds themselves to be in the same situation I found myself 2 years ago. And in this specific video, we're going to talk about how the Olympics are going to impact Paris for all those of you who are planning to be in Paris during the Olympics, or those of you who actually live in Paris and are just trying to understand what is going on. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So, first of all, let's talk dates. So, the Olympic Games 2024 are going to take place in Paris, and specifically, the Olympics are going to take place from July the 26th until August the 11th, and the Paralympics are going to take place from August the 28th until September the 8th. But let's talk about one of the most important things, which is the official opening ceremony of the Olympics, which is going to take place on July the 26th, starting from 7:30 p.m. Why is this important? Because it's going to be the very first time in the history of the Olympics that an opening ceremony won't take place inside a stadium, because it's going to take place along the Seine, which is the river that runs across Paris. And how is this going to happen? Basically, every single nation that is participating in the Olympics will transit along the Seine on a specific bateau-mouche, which are the typical Parisian cruises, and every single nation will be assigned a bateau-mouche. So it's going to be amazing, but this is going to impact Paris in a very massive way. Now, how is the opening ceremony impacting the city of Paris? Well, it's impacting it because, considering that the opening ceremony will take place along the Seine, the whole area around the Seine has been closed starting from July the 18th, meaning that it's not possible to cross the Seine or to get inside the area around the Seine if you don't have a QR code that justifies the reason why you are actually crossing the area. Which means that the whole area around the Seine is now considered security areas, and it's divided into two specific areas. The gray area, which is the one right around the Seine, and the red area, which is the one right outside the gray one. Now, if you want to pass by the red area, if you are driving a car, a motorbike, like a motor vehicle, you have to have a QR code that proves the reason why you are actually moving around that area. If you are a pedestrian or if you are by bike, you don't need a QR code in the red area. Instead, inside the gray area, even if you're walking or if you are with your bike, you have to have a QR code that proves the reason why you are actually inside the gray area, which again has to be either because you live there, because you work there, because you have a medical appointment, because your hotel is there, your Airbnb, any reason that can actually justify the reason why you are walking inside the area. So even though the opening ceremony is going to be on July the 26th, it's already impacting the viability around Paris, because the whole area around the Seine is closed and all the metro stations around the Seine are closed. Meaning that if you have to take them from one bank of the river to the other one, you can absolutely take the metro, but it will simply skip the stations that are around the Seine. So if you have to move around Paris, just take into consideration that it may take a little more time than usual. Most importantly, if you have to, for example, take a bus, if you have to take a cab, if you have to take other public transport means other than the metro, because they will need to really change their average routes, right? Because they cannot cross from one bank of the river to the other. And this is going to happen around the Seine from July the 18th until July the 26th. July the 26th, you will not be able to access the area starting from 1 p.m. unless you have a ticket to participate to the opening ceremony or a QR code that justify the access in the area. But starting from July the 27th, the whole area around the Seine will be freed. And from July the 27th, the security areas will only be the areas where the competitions will take place. Because in fact, considering that the Olympics are taking place in Paris, there will be different areas in the city where the competitions will take place. And all those areas will be impacted and will be considered security security areas. Now, how to download the QR code? Basically, to download the QR code, the Ministry of the Interior created a specific website where you can go and you can select if you're going to need the QR code for the period from July the 18th to July the 26th, or if you need a QR code for the period from July the 27th on. Then you will have to fill in a specific forms indicating your name, surname, your address, your phone number, and all the information required. But most importantly, you have to insert a specific address for which you are asking the QR code, meaning that it has to be an address that falls inside a security area. You will have to write the reason why you are asking for a QR code, and you also have to attach a document that proves why you're asking the QR code. So, for example, your hotel reservation, your Airbnb reservation, your proof of address if you're actually living in Paris and your apartment is inside a security area. So you have to actually have a specific reason to download the QR code. And another important thing to bear in mind is that you have to do it with a wide notice, meaning that if you know that you will need to enter a specific security area, better for you to already download the QR code, because it's not going to be immediate. It's not automatic. It's not that you fill in the fields and then you receive the QR code. French authorities need to approve the QR codes. So you may want to have enough time to allow them to actually verify if the reason why you're asking QR code is approved, and then they will send it to you via email. So that may take a few days, if not weeks. So if I were you, I would start downloading the QR code now if you know that you will need it. How to know if you're going to need a QR code? Basically, always the Ministry of the Interior created a specific website with an interactive map that allows you to just insert the address that you will need to go to and understand if it falls inside a security area, which is going to be very helpful if you have an hotel reservation or an Airbnb and you're not sure if that happens to be inside a security area. So you can go on the website and just check if the places you are planning to be in Paris when you're going to be here are going to be inside a security area, and that allows you to already ask for a QR code in case you're going to need it. Now, another question I got asked a lot is what if you have a ticket for a museum? Does the ticket for a museum covers the need of a QR code, or you still need to ask for a QR code even though you have a ticket for a museum? Now, apparently, based on the information that have been released, you don't need a QR code if you have a ticket for a museum. I mean, if the museum is inside a security area, because apparently the ticket of the museum is already an authorization for you to get inside. Now, this information may change and they may want to ask a QR code even though you have a museum ticket the closer we get to the Olympics. So my advice is always to keep yourself informed, visiting the websites of the specific museums you have purchased the ticket for, because if there's one thing we all realize is that probably we are going to discover things as we go, because not every information that has been released actually matched the truth of what was going on. Because, for example, back in the day, they said that the quai of the Seine, meaning the banks of the river where you can actually walk and have picnics and there are a lot of bars, back in the day, they said that they were going to be closed starting from mid-June. But that was absolutely not the truth, because last week, and it was beginning of July, everything was still absolutely open. You could absolutely walk on the banks of the Seine. It was not a problem at all. So not everybody's understanding what's actually happening and what is not happening. So I would really highly recommend you keep yourself updated. If you know that you are going to specific museums, just check their websites and keep yourself informed. Same goes for the different areas of the cities that will be impacted. Because, for example, as much as the Seine, the area around the Seine, will be freed from July the 27th, meaning that also the banks, the banks of the river, will be freed starting from the end of July. There will be specific areas of the cities where the competitions will take place, which will be impacted, meaning that if you're coming to Paris as a tourist, you won't be able to actually see them. For example, Place de la Concorde, or the square in front of Hotel de Ville, or the area of Invalides, or, for example, the Champ de Mars, which are the gardens right at the base of the Tour Eiffel. They will be closed, but also they won't be visible at all because they built a proper volleyball stadium on the Champ de Mars. So it's not going to be possible to see them. So if you're coming to Paris as a tourist during the period of the Olympics, there are many areas that you won't be able to actually see. But one of the questions that I got asked a lot is, considering that the area of the Champ de Mars and the area of Trocadero, which is the square right behind the Tour Eiffel, are going to be closed, if the Tour Eiffel is actually going to be open and if you can actually visit it. And yes, the answer is yes. The Tour Eiffel will absolutely be open. You can visit it. And as of now, on their website, they are stating that if you have a ticket to visit the Tour Eiffel, you don't need a QR code to access the area. because that whole area will be considered a security area. The only thing is that the metro stations around the Tour Eiffel will be closed, so you may want to consider that it may take you longer to get there, but yeah, it will be open and you can absolutely visit it. Now, another thing that I've been asked is where, when, and at what time the opening and closing ceremonies will take place. So for the Olympics, the opening ceremony, as we said before, is going to take place on July the 26th, starting from 7:30 p.m. along the Seine, while the closing ceremony of the Olympics will take place on August the 11th, starting from 9 p.m. at the Stade de France. And for the Paralympics, the opening ceremony will take place on August the 28th, starting from 8 p.m. at Place de la Concorde, which is the square right at the bottom of the Champs-Élysées. And the closing ceremony will take place on September the 8th at 8 p.m. at the Stade de France. Now, in that specific situation, so the closing ceremony of the Paralympics will also be the official closing ceremony of the Olympic Games 2024, and there will be the official passage to the city of Los Angeles, which will be the hosting city of the Olympics of 2028. So it's going to be an amazing ceremony. And finally, one of the latest news that has been released is that on the occasion of the 4 ceremonies, so the opening and the closing of the Olympics and the Paralympics, the police prefecture gave the green light to all the bars in Paris to stay open all night long. So if you happen to be in Paris in one of those 4 days, I think that it's going to be magical. It's going to be a big party all over the city. Every bar will be open. Everybody will be out there celebrating. So I think it will be a great occasion to actually breathe this magical atmosphere and this energy that you can actually really perceive in the air all over the city now that the Olympics are getting very close by. Actually, there's one last thing that I wanted to add, because if you are planning to be in Paris during the period from July the 20th until September the 8th, the public transport system of Paris created a specific public transport pass, which is called Pass Paris 2024, which is a pass that is specifically going to be valid just from July the 20th until September the 8th, and that will actually allow you to move all over Paris, like every area of the city, also including the Orly and Charles de Gaulle airport, which is going to be very useful, and for every single public transport, so either the metro, the bus, the tram, the rental bikes, like everything will be included in that specific pass. And the only thing is that it can go from a minimum of 1 day until a maximum of 7 days, so it's a pass that has been thought for people that are going to stay up to 1 week in Paris, and the more days, the less the price. So for example, 1 day is going to cost 16 euros, 7 days is going to cost 70 euros, but at least that pass will cover every single place, every single area, and the airport's connections, which is going to be very, very helpful. How to activate it? Either if you already have a Navigo Easy pass, because you've already been in Paris and you already purchased the Navigo Easy, you can purchase it and upload it on your Navigo Easy, because the Navigo Easy is not actually a proper pass, it's just a support, and you can recharge it every single time with the kind of different tickets that you prefer, and you can actually recharge the Navigo Easy with the Pass Paris 2024. Otherwise, if you don't have a Navigo Easy, you can directly download the Île-de-France Mobilité app on your phone, and you can purchase the Pass Paris 2024 on your phone, and you can directly use your phone as a pass. Because since last month, you can actually use your phone instead of your pass to get the metro, the tram, the rental bikes, and everything you want in Paris. So if you don't have your Navigo Easy, just download the app and purchase your pass, because that is definitely going to make it easier to move around. So this is all for the updates on the Olympics. Of course, the more updates will come out, the more I will keep you posted. But if you like this video, just click on the like button, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so that if I post other news and updates on the Olympics, you will be absolutely up to date. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram, and see you in the next video.